All right, welcome to episode number 43 of the John Riley Project, and we are here with Bob Pasela from Sabuku Sushi here on Restaurant Row on Adams Avenue in North Park. Mm-hmm. And, Bob, we met you. I was here for lunch with my producer, Zeke, and we met you. You were just this surge of energy, this entrepreneur that had built this sushi restaurant. You talked about the creativity in your menu, and you were, being an entrepreneur at the same time. You were taking care of business and helping customers, and I just loved the energy, loved the passion, and I said, this is a guy that exemplifies what the podcast is all about, which is life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
So, thank you, John. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Thanks for having me here. Thanks for coming here to my place.
This is your house, right?
We keep arguing whether it's my world or yours. We're in my restaurant, but in a podcast, we're in your world. So wonderful. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. So first of all, tell me a little bit about Sabuku Sushi and about your business and the things that make this restaurant so special.
Before we get into Sabuku Sushi, I think we have to go back because what makes Sabuku special is, as you said, my passion. I came out here in my early 20s. I grew up in Pittsburgh, PA. I went to school in upstate New York, and my parents retired out here. And I kept vacationing out here, fell in love with it, and came out here early 20s, and immediately fell in love with fishing, deep sea fishing, fish in general. The only fish we have in Pittsburgh is Long John Silvers, or at least back in the 80s. And that's not fish, all right? Let's not kid anybody. I don't even think they're around anymore because everyone realized at some point that's not fish.
Right.
But I fell in love with the fishing. The whole ocean environment, I think a lot of people do, enamored with it. There's no oceans in Pittsburgh. We got rivers.
Yeah, 3 rivers.
3 rivers, actually.
Yeah.
And they're not very clear. But so I fell in love with fish. I fell in love with, of course, fishing. And in that context, of course, when you're fishing, you're cutting the fish right there on the boat.
Yeah.
The first time I ever had raw fish, I just enamored with it. It was just an amazing flavor. It was the brininess of the sea, the saltiness was perfect, the juiciness. I think probably my first fish was in fact a tuna, and that is absolutely my favorite. Yellowfin tuna is my absolute favorite. So, like anyone else, initially it starts off as a hobby. Initially going to sushi restaurants, checking them out, falling in love with the cuisine. First 5-10 years, all you're doing is just eating out. And I kind of joked with myself way back when, before I even considered having a restaurant, because initially there wasn't a passion to have a restaurant. Right. The passion was just about raw fish and sashimi, never having had it before. Right. And I always joked that I would either owe a restaurant, i.e. a sushi restaurant, or own one.
Right.
Never really thinking the latter would actually be the case. While I'm out here in my 20s, I actually began a career in banking and finance. Mm-hmm. And again, for those of you that won't be watching this, you'll see a few gray hairs here. I love how people think I go from banking and finance to sushi in 1 week. Decades of practicing, first of all, just learning, teaching myself. I was really self-taught on the sushi side. Again, started with the raw fish, understanding fish, querying every time I went out to a sushi restaurant, whether they were wanted to or not. I'd ask them a million questions. I'd query them. The advent of Google and YouTubes, and just teaching myself about the various fish and so forth. Started making rolls probably horribly at the beginning, but the focus was always on the quality of the fish. And to me, that's the biggest thing. You can take me to a steakhouse, you miscook my steak, but if everything else is fine, I'll go back.
Right.
You send me to a fish house and you give me bad fish, I'm never going back.
Right.
So first thing that I think is most important in understanding the creativity that Sabuku exhibits is not to cover up the quality of the fish is rather as to enhance it. And so for me, but one of the things I found going out to sushi restaurants in San Diego, and nothing, I mean, we all know about Sushi Oda being kind of the de facto sushi spot of San Diego. Give him a lot of credit. First guy here. His focus on quality was exemplary. But what happens is you get a successful restaurant like that, and then all of his, I hate to use the word minions, but folks, his disciples, his understudies, all open additional restaurants, and they're all very similar. They might change a roll or two. They might change the cuisine. I mean, they might change a couple items. I mean, the way the restaurant looks.
Yeah.
But when I was going out and dining out with sushi, I kept finding basically the same restaurants over and over and over, and to varying degrees of quality. Some focused on the quality aspect. Some would focus on the. You can see that there are more. You know, the problem with sushi. I'm backing up, or I'm bouncing around quite a bit on you.
Yeah, it's all good.
The problem with the sushi cuisine is we all know what to expect from McDonald's. we all know what to expect from like an Outback. And then let's say if we were to go to Donovan Steakhouse or Greystone downtown, we know what to expect there. But if it's Bob Sushi, Jim Sushi, Gary Sushi, how do you know what the difference is? I mean, tuna is just like steak. You could spend $20 a pound.
Right.
You could spend $10 a pound. Nothing wrong with the $10 a pound if that's what you're interested in. We've all bought wine at Trader Joe's, $2 chucks, and rather enjoyed it. But it's not the same as a $300 bottle from Napa.
Yeah, sure.
So again, you just have to understand there's differences. And to me, that was the only variation that I found throughout the sushi world. So going back, again, decades, starting out as a hobby of mine, I started making sushi for family and friends. It became rather somewhat of a social experiment for me as I began to become more creative. I started making rolls and introducing what I like to call my meat and potatoes background. Growing up in Pittsburgh, again, the fish was Long John Silver's. It was burgers, it was hot dogs, it was cooked things, it was fried things. There was, but there's something wonderfully comforting. There's a reason it's called comfort food. A meatloaf or a mashed potato. It's warm, it's rich, savory. And I always felt that the traditional sushi restaurants, and again, we're going back decades, the 80s and the 90s, here we are in 2019, the sushi markets just didn't really offer a lot of variety. And to me, that was... we'd go to the places that had the great fish, but other than that, there was really, beyond that,
that's amazing, because you think of sushi chefs as artists, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I mean, of course we
probably
are.
More so than any other type of chef.
Presentation is incredibly important, everything.
But still, they were just churning out the same old thing.
Pretty much.
It was good, but it was the same. It's almost like, you're talking about the sushi that, the sushi restaurant that really set the standard in San Diego. It's almost like an NFL coaching tree, right? Where they have all these other coaches come and they have the same philosophy.
Perfect analogy, yeah.
For
years we had 4-3 defenses, and then all of a sudden we had 3-4s.
Right.
And then all of a sudden we got 23-4s.
Because it's a copycat league.
Right, exactly.
So,
we all are.
Right. But you decided you're not going to play that game. And that's why I got to I saw your menu. You have sushi with bacon in it.
Yeah. Cooked, fried, pan-seared. In my 20s, as I said, one of the restaurants that I went to, if any of our older podcast listeners remember Quigs, they had a little sushi bar inside. John was a sushi chef. I believe he's still here in San Diego somewhere. He had something called the tomato. And I had said to him, why don't we do it this way? Why don't we sear some scallops? Why don't we use some really fresh tuna and make it this way? And we kind of made a special together. At that point, I was a customer. And it became our kind of go-to item. We would go in every few days and get that item, which I now call the stuffed tonado on my menu. But it was so good that he actually put it on his menu as well. And it's just simply searing, adding a seared scallop to beautiful fresh tuna, adding a little bit of crunch, adding a little bit of texture.
Nice.
And when you sear something, there's something about the proteins that kind of come out, almost like a metallic flavor, brightness. When you char something. Even when we do our chicken, I do our chicken bowls. I always joke with all my chefs, please don't make albino chicken. There's nothing worse when you get that chicken in a sauce and it's all white and rubbery. And I call it albino chicken. If you char it just a tad, little salt and pepper, people think you need to be fancy sometimes. And sometimes it's just doing the simple things really well.
Right.
And I think that's one of the things that I taught myself, or I came to the conclusion. I mentioned I was a financial guy all year, so obviously I have a left brain, right brain problem here.
That's maybe not a problem.
Maybe not a problem, very analytical, very detail-oriented.
That's good.
And that's so important with sushi. And that is one of the things that the Odas and the traditional Japanese culture, that's their thing. They focus. Once they come up with an idea, i.e. sushi, they're gonna strive to do it better than anybody and everybody else.
Yes.
The problem is they're a little narrowly focused in that direction. Their fish will be the best, or they attempt to be. But again, there wasn't much in the way of selection. So going back to backing up again, I apologize. My story is not one that's
this is a great story.
Okay, it's not easily told as okay. This is where we were. Here's where we are, because it is a confluence of a lot of different things. So later in my life, a divorce happened, and the social aspect of sushi became almost more than a hobby. I was in a situation where being single and out and about in your 40s. going to parties with folks with means. You're going to friends' house with couples, and they wanted to throw parties. They knew I was a quasi sushi chef, and so they're like, "Hey, Bob, well, you want to cook sushi? Want to make sushi for us tonight at this party?" And of course, I wanted to go to the party because if there were any single ladies there,
right.
Why not?
Yeah.
So it kind of became one of those funny hobbies for me. More than a hobby, but a paying hobby. Not one that I certainly make a living off of. But that's where I really began to kind of show my creativity, and I started making rolls and doing things beyond the traditional rolls that I had copied for decades before, and kind of where I found out that I actually have some talent in that area. And I always like to tell people, we all know someone who plays the guitar beautifully well, but isn't in a band or anything.
Yeah.
So you don't have to be quote unquote a designated chef. And I would tell anybody that no matter where you started in life, there's no reason you can't be something else later on. I started off as a banker. Actually, I started off, it's funny, in my early years in high school, I was an auto mechanic, and I wanted to go down that road. I wanted to build cars, muscle cars. In the late 70s, early 80s, it was all about building 68 Chevelles and 71 Camaros. The old muscle car age was exciting times, but I soon realized I wanted to make money and got into, go to college, banking and finance, and now I'm a restaurateur. So I discovered, all the while discovering along the way different talents, different abilities, and so while I'm out doing all this sushi in a social setting and some money's coming in, people were just telling me, these are rolls that we've never seen anywhere. We have a chilaxin roll where I love Chilean sea bass, but I pan-sear it, and it's just, torch it and glaze the aioli, attention to the details, and I started making things that you just don't find in sushi places here in San Diego. And I friends constantly telling me, how are you not opening a restaurant? And at this point in my life, I had no intention of opening a restaurant. I'll be honest with you. I mean, I was a banker. I was in finance. I was doing well. I had a great career. But I just, I had this passion for sushi. And, obviously on a Tuesday night, nobody's home, and I'm making sushi. So there's a problem there. So I said, you know what? I've been doing the banking and finance thing now now I'm in my late 40s. I'm saying I've done the banking and finance thing. I've made some money. I had some money put aside, and being a financial guy, understanding the business acumen necessary to be successful, understanding that starting a business, no matter what you plan for, you should plan for twice as much. If you think your expenses are X a month, they're going to be X times 2. Right. And if you think your revenue is going to come in at Y, it's Y minus 10. I mean, everything planned for everything to go wrong. And it really is the case. Opening this restaurant was eye-opening. We'll go into some of those things, some of the challenges right off the bat. But I said, okay, you know what? I think I can do this. I've lived in Normal Heights, North Park here for the past 10 years. The nearest sushi places weren't the type of sushi places that were indicative of like the Odas and the Onos and stuff like that. They were kind of the more get the kids in here with the cheap sake, cheap rolls. If I wanted good sushi, and here's the thing with San Diego. People don't realize, even going 5 miles on a map, you can Google it. Like from my house to a good sushi spot was 5 miles. But if I had to cross El Cajon Boulevard, University Boulevard, you're in Solana Beach. You're not coming into North Park on Friday night at 5 o'clock, because even though it's only a 4-mile stretch on the freeway, that freeway's not moving for 30 minutes. That's right. So very interesting how the geography of San Diego plays into the business demographics. Anyhow, so I'm in this neighborhood for a period of time. There are no good sushi spots anywhere in North Park at that point. This part of North Park, and I start playing around being a financial guy with the idea of building a business plan. I've done it for others. Why not do it for myself? And it's kind of funny when you start going down that road, how people, as I talk to people, the business director for the business association here, well, why aren't you going to do this? This is what I mean. This is just a project. We need sushi. We need a good sushi spot. Then you talk to somebody else, and they're like, yeah, you just would be genius. Why not? Anyhow, so I basically, in my planning stages of more of an exercise, maybe I was thinking at the time, how serious am I about the restaurant? Was I maybe just practicing my trade as a planner? But it came to fruition where I was like, okay, I could start, maybe I should pull the trigger on this. And so back in 2010, started actually looking for locations. Said, okay, I'm going to do this. And knowing I had no restaurant experience. I've never, even in college, I didn't even work as a server. This is my very first restaurant, Sabuku Sushi. Crazy to think about that I literally had zero restaurant experience. So one of the things I knew I needed to do was bring on an existing head chef that would have had a lot of restaurant experience. And so I was able to find a young man at the time, nice young man. He's also still here in San Diego, Zach Stoffern, good young kid. And he helped me further craft the menu, come up with some ideas, and I pulled the trigger. And we opened Sabuku in July of 2011 with one of the most eclectic sushi menus you'll ever find. And again, we talked about the differences, adding fried rolls. We've got a San Diego roll. I swear I make 100 of those a day. People love fried. You go to the Del Mar Fair, they're frying butter.
Right.
So the American palate, and so I would say to anybody that hasn't tried Sabuku and wants to know what the difference is, I'm often told, and even in negative Yelp reviews, are people like, well, this isn't Japanese, and I'm like, I don't see any Japanese Buddhas anywhere. I don't see any cats. I don't see any Japanese writing. Last time I checked, I'm Polish from Pittsburgh. The cuisine is Japanese, but I've taken it in a completely new direction.
Right. Yeah.
Cooked foods, meats, different ingredients, pan searing, frying, cooking, baking rolls. We do bake rolls. We've got a couple new rolls, a volcano we just added to the menu, and it's already one of our top sellers. People love it. People want something different.
Right.
And don't get me wrong, as I said before, I understand what a good piece of fish is. And to that end, I will tell everybody that I love how when people think about quality or try to describe quality, they don't sometimes really fully understand. I've literally had people who have known sushi as the frozen type of saku, seared ahi, and then when you give them a piece of beautiful big eye yellowfin tuna, and they're like, oh, I don't like that. It's like, well, I just gave you $20 tuna. You're telling me you like the $5 tuna better than the $20? Yeah. But that's our perception, and that's why I Yelp reviews and people do negative reviews. We always strive for perfection. Of course, you don't, but when it comes to quality, I will put my quality up against anybody's in the world. The cooking and the frying is meant to complement the high quality, everything that we do here, whether it be the fish. My avocados are Haas, they're fresh every day. Everything about this place first starts with quality.
Yeah, I mean, that was evident when we had our lunch here. I mean, I was blown away by how good it tasted. It was clearly high-quality fish, but it was just awesome for you as an entrepreneur to be so innovative, so creative. You were building something that no one had really ever done this way.
Not to this degree.
Yeah, I mean, and you were building a business here in the Normal Heights area on Adams Avenue that was lacking. So you came in with no restaurant experience, and you've been in business now for almost
8 years.
8 years. I mean, restaurants are incredibly difficult to be successful.
It's incredibly hard.
And here you are persevering as an innovator, a creator, an entrepreneur, zigging when the rest of the world is zagging, and living the dream.
Yeah. Every day I come in, I laugh. I'm like, this is my rice, this is my chair, this is my napkin. I love it. And you felt that energy. I try to exude it. Passion has its negative side too. Look, there's days it's frustrating. I've had days where I've got employees that do some really stupid shit, and and they're going to serve that to my customer, and it's going to be a negative Yelp review. So in the heat of the moment, there's been days, I kind of look like that soup Nazi guy from Seinfeld. People are like, I'm yelling at my employees. I'm like, hey guys, that passion goes both ways.
Right.
I talk to them afterwards and stuff, but no, I have a very good team. Generally speaking, this podcast is talking about being an entrepreneur. I will share with you that the hardest challenge is employees. I have had some very good ones, but the constant turnover in this industry blows me away. Having come from the corporate world and banking and finance, that had its own issues. You'd have PhDs and master degrees and people that would still be terrible at what they did, but because they were smart, they stayed in the business, or they knew the money was good. The problem you have in this industry is that so many people are in this to do, their dreams are somewhere else. The reality is 90% of your service people don't want to be service people, truth be told.
Right.
Sure. I mean, your sushi chefs want to be sushi chefs, but half your kitchen guys are just doing this because they don't really know what else to do. They're in their 20s, they're They're not sure of themselves, or if they're older, they just have been in this for so long and they don't really have any other skill sets. So they bounce around because they keep looking for the next place to make them happy, but they're not happy.
Right.
So the question is you're looking externally to find happiness, and you need to find it internally.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No doubt.
So no matter how hard something is, if you're not happy, it really doesn't matter. You can say that this job was terrible, and I would say, well, why are the last 6 jobs terrible? Well, you keep doing the same thing.
Right.
It's almost like politics. We keep asking for new. We go Democrat one year, we go Republican, and the same shit keeps happening. Our bills go higher, our taxes get higher. I don't think we've had a budget that shrunk in any particular politician or whatever you want to call it, a Republican House with a Democrat president. I mean, it's the same thing. If you're going to keep doing the same job and just thinking that I'm going to go work for Sabuku this month and 2 years from now I'm going to go work down the street at this place, and you see that a lot in this industry. Folks moving around, looking to better themselves, of course, but they're really not doing what's necessary to better themselves. They're just simply changing. They're basically changing clothes.
Right. Yeah. Sure.
They're not changing themselves internally.
Well, there are people in their 20s who are trying to figure themselves out. Some of them maybe are unwilling to take a risk, like you did, to start a business. Some don't have the resources to do that, and some are just drifting through life. Yeah. You know, and that's what I really liked about your story is that here you were like you like to build cars, then you like to build finance, build business. Now you're building a sushi restaurant. So you've had that drive in you. It doesn't seem like you were ever the type that just drifted.
Certainly not patting myself on the back in any way, shape, or form, but too often today when you look around and you look at people who aren't where they want to be, the first thing you notice right off the bat is where is their dedication. If you want to be, I always joke with my employees, and can we use the S word on this?
You can say whatever you want.
All right, so I always tell every employee that, I don't care where you are in life, if life dealt you a pair of deuces and that guy's sitting with 4 aces, you got to deal with it. And here's how you deal with it. I don't care if you're a shit shoveler at the zoo. Yeah. Be the best damn shit shoveler at the zoo, and I promise you won't be a shit shoveler forever. The problem that you have is that so many people work somewhere for 3 to 4 weeks, and then all of a sudden they have these expectations that things should start happening for them. Right. You have to make it happen. That's right. You have to have the drive. That's right. When I was in banking and finance, people always wondered why was I always the top banker. When I was Wells Fargo, I was one of the top bankers, and I went into premier banking. One of the top premier bankers, went into commercial lending, top lenders, went off on my own, initially on my own, but through an entity. They couldn't figure out, why am I always successful? Because I don't wait for others to tell me what I need to do to be successful. Yes. So many people today are hesitant. They come in here and they want direction. You got to give it to them. Right. Sometimes you just got to go get it. Right. In one of my careers, I worked for a Beverly Hills bank. Are we allowed to mention names?
You can say whatever you want, man. This is all good.
I worked for City National Bank when I left one of my last banking careers. And we had the smallest branch. This is a Beverly Hills bank. All they cared about was Beverly Hills at the time. It was the bank to the stars. They had a few other offices throughout L.A. And here I am now managing the San Diego office. No marketing, no support. I don't even think they really cared at the time that San Diego had a branch. I think they had a couple movie stars that had some accounts down here, and they felt it was a good idea to have a branch. Right. No tools, very little marketing. And so I get into this branch, this new job. They wanted a branch manager to take it somewhere. But they say that, but then don't always give you all the resources. Right. And within about 2 years, we were either the number 1 or number 2 top performing branch. Nice. No marketing dollars, no advertising. We didn't have movie stars. You don't have John Travolta saying to, hey, John, come on over, open a bank account with these guys. Yeah. I mean, it was just crazy. And they couldn't figure out how I was doing it. And I'm like, just called effort. Right. I'm not going to wait for you to give me the marketing. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, I didn't get the marketing dollars this quarter, so we didn't succeed. Yeah. I got out there, I made the phone calls. I got our team motivated to go out and make things happen. Nice. And that's kind of been my philosophy my whole life. As I said, if you're going to be a shit shoveler, just be the best. Yeah, exactly. Just be the best at it. Yeah. It's amazing what happens, because in that job that you're at, wherever you are now, you won't be there in the future if you can see where you want to take it. Right. Too many people come into a job job, and that's where they see themselves right there. And that's kind of the first problem in a problem. It's where a lot of people just don't have that vision of the position themselves, or if they have the vision, they think someone's going to help them make it happen.
Right.
I'm going to come in here and be a sushi chef, and we're going to grow this business, but Bob's going to grow it. I'm just going to make sushi. No, I need you to kill it. I need you.
Yes.
Are you talking to your friends? Are you doing the things necessary outside of the work to be a better sushi chef, to be top at your field, to get recognized, so that we bring people in? Can't just do the job and think that somehow things are going to be different 4 years later. If that's all you're going to, what you are today, if that's where you're happy and that's where you're comfortable, if that's where you want to stay, you will stay there. I promise.
No question. No question.
So you have to have some sort of vision for the future, and you literally can't wait for anyone else to do it. Don't, what is that old phrase? It's better to ask for forgiveness.
Beg for forgiveness.
Beg for forgiveness than ask for permission.
Yeah.
And you see that throughout today's young community is so afraid of conflict. The social media situation has got us where nobody's actually communicating anymore. We bark at each other through a post, and then we wonder why there's passive-aggressive responses.
But see, you got to take control of your situation, right?
Whatever it is. It sucks. Sometimes it sucks.
It does suck. Life is loaded with obstacles and people hammering you down
every day.
But you've got to fight through it.
Yes.
And you've got to believe in yourself, and you've got to be the best at what you're doing at that moment. And like you said,
even if you're not, then you just retool. You get up the next day and say, okay, I won't do that again tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I see that as one of the really challenges with employees these days, is that so many of them are just kind of waddling through without any focus, without any drive. Or the focus they have, as I said, the service industry, the focus they have isn't in the service industry.
It's something else. This is just a
they're
job.
Going to college. They've been going to college for 17 years. So that's the other thing that drives me nuts. Stop, kids. If you've been in college for more than 5 years, you need to reconsider your life, because you're not serious about going to college.
Right.
No, I meet people all the time, and 35-year-old going to college. I think they go to college because they just don't want to pay the loans. But at some point, you got to say, am I going to get this done? Or am I, because no one wants a 40-year-old with a college degree against a 21-year-old who did it in 4 years with a college degree. And they don't seem to get that. People don't seem to understand. Everybody I know is going to college. But all you're doing is accruing a lot of debt. What are you accomplishing?
Well, you have to have a strategy.
I'm not against, I'm not trying to say I'm not against higher education. What I'm saying is education going to take you somewhere?
Right.
Have you thought about it?
Yeah, you have a plan.
If you are 17 years into your college diploma and you're basically doing business administration, and your plan is to graduate at 45, are you going to be better? Is that going to get you a job that's going to pay you better? They have visions they're going to make $170,000. You just basically gave yourself an entry-level position at 45 to have a college degree.
That's exactly right.
What kind of strategy is that? I see a lot of people use, and I think they use that almost as a crux, because they don't want to admit that really they don't really have a strategy. I'm just going to go to school, and if I get enough education, maybe something will happen.
Right.
But they don't have a plan. They really don't. I meet so many people, 20s, 30s, 40s, they're going to school, and I'm like, but what are you going to do with it?
Right.
You're going to accrue a lot of debt. You're going to accrue a lot of knowledge, but are you going to put it to work? Because you got to put it together. Knowledge is great, but knowledge with $100,000 in debt and no plan to pay that debt back, let's not hope for debt relief. I think a lot of people are in that trap right now.
Well, it's brutal. College is expensive. But the thing is that you can come up with a plan. Like you had a plan. You were a financial executive, a professional, and you changed your plan, and that's okay. People, you can change your plan.
Oh, absolutely, you can.
Some people don't really think that through, because they're in paralysis analysis, trying to figure out what is that dream career, that dream job, when really you just need to take control of your life and focus on you, have integrity in what you do. That's like the shit shoveler, and then just keep ratcheting it up.
Yeah, exactly. And you might find that again, if someone had told me when I was working on cars that I would become a banking finance executive, that I would one day open a sushi restaurant, I probably would have told them to go pound salt. So that's the beautiful thing, self-discovery. Let's follow passion. I think passion's important.
Yeah.
So, people who are doing something they don't want to be doing, get the hell out of your job. Stop right there. You're wasting everyone else's time. We all know it. You've seen the server that doesn't want their job, that you can tell is, I don't know, wherever he or she wants to be. We've seen the executive that is just not happy with where they are. They're working. They're not hanging out with their family.
But when that happens, when they have that moment and they realize, I need to quit this job that I hate, the minute they do it, they feel like they've had a burden lifted from them, and then they feel like now they can blossom. You know, it's amazing. Because it's like a trap.
The flip side is that they do it on the emotional aspect of it. See, what you talked about is I had a plan. So when I did all these things, I didn't just do them on a whim. So you get the executive who's been working for 40 years, didn't think it through, quits, because a lot of people really get paid some really good money that the hard word is to say deserve it. I know some people who are making $170,000 a year, working about 30 hours a week, and truthfully, they're not committed. That means to me that I probably, knowing what I know about finding people who want to do what they do, I can find that job. They can be replaced for about half the cost. And whatnot. So you get these people that, they're executives at HP, they've got their benefits package, they quit, they were making $160, they quit, and then they want to be a consultant or something. And then they have no money. They didn't think that through. They bought the house is paid, or the house expenses. And if you're going to do something like that, you got to have, when I say a plan, you got to think about all aspects of it. You got to look at it from many different angles.
It's hard. It's very difficult to really come up with a good plan. And really, it's hard to take control of your own life and think it through. Because it's just easy to drift.
It's drift.
But it's hard to execute.
Very hard.
Let me switch gears just a bit. This podcast is about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And the liberty angle is what I usually talk about politics. And I'm curious from you as a business owner, what are some things that have happened with local government that they've created hurdles for you to jump over? They've created obstacles for you to be successful. And how did you overcome
it? The first thing that was eye-opening and beyond ridiculous, after I found my location, the very first check I had to write was to the city of San Diego. And I think people have this feeling that somehow opening a restaurant is, I grew up with the images. The doctor has a wife. She's a great cook. So they want to open a restaurant. They put $20,000 into it, and she opens it. It doesn't work, but hey, at least she had she tried it out. Restaurants nowadays are ridiculously expensive. And let me tell you, the very first check I had to write was the city of San Diego for just the fees alone. I had this blueprint. And this is a little restaurant. This isn't even 1,500 square feet. So why do you imagine restaurants downtown that are 10,000, 12,000 square feet? So for a 1,500 square foot restaurant with mostly sushi, a very small kitchen perhaps with equipment, was $25,000 just to the city of San Diego for the planning fees.
The planning fees?
Yes, that was $25,000. The very first check was you have to get your place first. They won't let you do plans.
So you have to have a lease.
You have to have a lease, and you have to have a place. Because I truly understand the city's dilemma there, because if people you plan what you think your restaurant's going to look like, then you get the space. Can't be that. So they don't want to work off of plans that are pie in the sky. They want to work on reality. So the first check is you get your lease. The very next check, I guess, would be to the third check. The next check's to the architect or the designer to draw up your plans, and then you submit them. I was blown away. I thought a few $1,000s. Never in my wildest dreams. This little itty bitty restaurant that I think they'd take $25,000 from me. Plus, it's over. And then as if there's additional checks, etc., the fees to open just to the city was about $30,000.
Unbelievable.
Crazy.
Wow. I mean, it's like...
So you people think you just... So here's the thing you have to understand. For anybody who has a small restaurant, go in there and pat the owners on the back. I love how everybody gives all the credit to the employees. And they do work hard too. I'm not trying to take that away. But I'm so impressed that we have so many small business owners, restaurant owners out here. Do you realize we spend $20,000 to $30,000 on fees? We spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on our kitchens. And... you basically drop any kitchen you see that sells a rape across the street. Everybody's probably dropped $250,000 to open a restaurant.
Wow.
Thank them. They put up a lot of their lives to be there. Either in past, I was fortunate. I used finances. I was in a good financial position. I opened Sabuku Sushi with zero debt.
Right on.
Thank God. Because it's hard. I didn't expect $25,000. When I said your expenses are twice as much. Labor is twice as much as you expend. And in revenue, you're not making millions of dollars. I love how people complain about restaurants to such a degree. Yet, and let me give you an example. If your plumber comes out to your house just to clear a drain, before he even does the drain, you get a little piece of paper that says this is an $80 job. Minimum $80. Now for $80, you can sit in my restaurant For 2 hours, you can get very good food.
Yes.
You can get waited on by employees.
Yes.
How much do you think I make on an $80 ticket? Now, obviously, I do a lot more tickets per day than that plumber can do. But my point is that people don't really, I think, appreciate
the profit margins are really thin.
How much a restaurateur gives them themselves.
Yes.
And I'm not complaining. Please don't get me wrong. I'm passionate about what I do. I love this. I get to come in and I drive a half a mile to work.
Oh, beautiful.
I know. I love it. I meet wonderful people like you guys. I mean, we had fun that day. You should be passionate. And there's a reason. El Zarapi, they're there. The owners are across the street. All these restaurants, there's a reason the owners are there. We're not making millions of dollars. We're passionate about what we do.
Right on.
And I wish more people would understand that and kind of be a little bit more appreciative of how much the owner actually contributes to the success of the restaurant.
Right.
That, we do replace, and employees have a valuable part, no doubt about it. But it's just, people just don't appreciate how hard it is.
Well, yeah. I mean, because as an owner,
on the political side, and then all the labor laws that you have to be on top of. I mean, it's incredible. You talk about the political aspects of it. Every day I get a letter from the EDD saying some person filed an unemployment claim. You can't get unemployment if you quit. So I constantly am filing paperwork and saying this person quit 2 years ago. Why are you trying to charge me thousands of dollars? And I'm going to tell you, it's scary. An employee can work for you for 90 days. If you terminate them, i.e. involuntarily, you could be on the hook for... You may have paid them $1,500 in wages. I've got 2 employees right now. Well, last year, 2 employees cost me $10,000 in unemployment claims. People think the government pays this stuff. Government doesn't pay this stuff. They charge the employers.
That's right.
So I have an employee that worked 100 days for me. Whatever you can imagine, minimum wage and tips and whatever that might be. I don't know, $1,500 or something for whatever, or I don't know, whatever the amount was.
Yeah.
I'm on the hook for $10,000. They charge my account, and if the account from my payroll taxes don't cover it, every year I get this nice little bill. For last year's bill was $8,000 on January. I get a nice $8,000 bill for former employees. They're not even with me anymore.
Right.
Welcome to America. Welcome to California.
Right.
Because they'll let them sit on unemployment. It's absolutely unbelievable. They'll get letters. The employees get letters saying, if you want your benefits, you need to file by this day. I'll get filings from 2 years ago. Guy terminated him back in 2016. 2019, I get a letter saying this person's now filed for unemployment.
So this person was fired for cause. They did something.
Oh, they always do. Sure,
they did something that violated your policies, and you let them go.
Yeah. It was so funny. So oftentimes it's not showing up.
Really?
Yeah.
So they don't show up for work.
They don't show up for work, which basically it should be quitting. I mean, if you don't show up, and then they put a Facebook post. So one of my guys was out on the night having a good time, was dumb enough to put Facebook posts, and he's showing his friends who were chefs, and I'm like, really?
Yeah.
And now I'm going to let him go.
Right.
But I'm on the hook. This man made a choice.
Right.
To not come to work, to put a small business owner and business employees. Look, we're small businesses. This isn't a Walmart with 700 employees that if one calls in sick, we just have a manager come out front and run a register. Sometimes I'm down to 6 people.
Well, last time we were here, your chef couldn't come in for that day for some reason.
And I was doing everything.
And you were the chef.
Yeah, there you
go.
You did
a great job.
Small business owner.
Yeah.
I'm chef, I'm server. Yeah, how many times that happens that, when one person calls in sick on a 5-person team, I'm a small business owner. I don't schedule mid-level managers that are just there collecting benefits. If I bring in 6 people, there is a job for those 6 people.
That's right.
Thus, if they don't show up, and let's be honest, they do this, they call in an hour before their shift, and in fairness, you try to reach other employees, but hey, this is their night off too. I don't expect them to come in. I can't expect them to come in.
Of course.
But now I've got 5 people that have to do the job of 6. Now that affects customer service. That affects your reviews, everything. People don't understand that for small business. They think, let's just keep paying these employees more and more money and give them more and more rights. And then the poor business owners left holding the bag on these things. And I'm not trying to be anti-employee. I have some great employees. But the laws are absolutely ridiculously skewed for the employees. And what's crazy is these laws are based usually in part because they're trying to prohibit the large companies, but they end up hurting the small companies.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
I don't know any small business owner that has an employee that's been with them for 30 years that's still making minimum wage. But why did we have this raise of minimum wage? Because the Walmarts and the Targets were putting employees at 31 hours because the rule was 32, keeping them there.
Right.
And now they create a law. Everybody has to pay 15.
Right.
the small business owner who's had a guy for 10 years wasn't making $8. I promise you, if he's good, there's a reason. Okay, let's understand something. There's a reason there's some people at minimum wage and they deserve to be there. And I say deserve, just I'm not making a lifetime statement. Yeah. I'm just simply saying they're not where they need to be. They just need a job. They have no skill. I'm going to have to commit training even to the minimum wage employee, and they're probably only going to stay for a few months.
Right.
Why should they be paid a lot of money? Okay? Let them earn their pay. Right. And if they're good, they will make more.
Absolutely.
There is no small business owner that has a guy on his payroll. Well, somewhere there probably is. Yeah. And don't get me wrong, there are unscrupulous people. But all these restaurant owners I know, they value their employees because employees make the difference when they're not there. Yeah. So if you get a good employee, believe me, and it's hard to find them, you will pay them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So all these laws that they keep enacting to quote unquote, fight the large companies just find new ways to thwart them. They got lawyers to fight the shit. They got robotics. Yeah. Now we're at the point where McDonald's and these larger companies are looking at robotics because at $35,000 a robot now makes sense for them.
Right.
No, that's not going to work in a sushi restaurant where you come in and you want personalized service.
Right.
But even I'm employing technologies. You guys use my new laptops, my iPad tablets.
Yeah, those are cool.
And as a small restaurant, that really doesn't help me from a labor perspective. But if I was a larger restaurant with 20 servers, you absolutely bet I can cut it down to 15.
Like a Chili's does that.
Yeah, technologies.
Yeah.
Okay, to help. So the labor laws are ridiculously against the employers. To a certain extent, I understand that, and government's not supposed to be business friendly in the sense that it represents the people, not a particular business owner. But at some point, you have to recognize that you've gone too far, and it really is reaching a point between the fees, between the burdens they place on owners to manage all these rules. Every day, I get a letter saying, "If you don't do this, we're going to fine you $2,500. If you don't do this, we're going to fine you this. If you don't do this," and it's just, it drives you nuts. Yeah. And they're just complete idiots. They want you to fax things. Who uses a fax anymore? I call them, you can't reach them they don't have emails, and they're like, well, you need to fax this form in. I can't. Let me email you. Oh, they don't let us do personal. Well, how about you have an email box for these documents? Right. I can scan them and make a PDF and send them to you. No, we need a fax or we mail it. And you know what happens with mail. Then I have to follow up. I have to call to make sure they got it. Right. Because they threatened me with that $2,500 fine if I don't reply by this date. Right. They said, you would not believe the paperwork. The trees they kill, the paperwork. I just got a 20-page letter. A former employee owes money. Oh, by the way, we're also the government. Did you know small business owners are the government's collection agencies? Anything an employee doesn't pay, if they end up in a collection, I end up getting these huge packages saying, this employee with this social security number. I mean, a package, like 20 pages with a deduction schedule and how much I'm supposed to deduct because they owe money, either taxes or child support or something. It drives me nuts. I literally spend probably 2 to 3 hours every week just responding to current and or mostly former employees that I've got collection requests. I've got from the government, taxes, judgments, child support. I got one right now every day, and I have to go research when I terminate them because you have to be exact. They can just send the shit out willy nilly, but if I don't reply and fill out the form prompt, so I basically had an unemployment claim come against me because I didn't check a box. I forget what it was. Really? It was something that simple. They said, well, you didn't check the box. They sent me a letter saying I didn't check the box. If you had just called me and said, hey, Bob, resend this form with the box checked, it would have been proper. But now I'm on the hook because I didn't check the box, and they sent the letter, and because they mail it, and stuff doesn't come in 3 days, they mail it with the date that they mail it, and they give you 30 days from that date. Anyhow, it's crazy. It's unbelievable.
And you just want to make these creative, innovative sushi rolls.
And I spend hours every week just dealing with some of this minutia. Now, the government part that I will tell you, and I'm super impressed with, is our health department. To that end, I will tell you that our government, we should all be very happy and proud. Millions of people eat out every day. As I said, there are sushi places that don't do good fish. When I say good, I'm talking about the quality of taste. I'm not talking. We don't have people dying from bad fish. We do have, we've got some shops that maybe aren't as cleanly, and people get some small cases of food poisoning. But I mean, you think about it. I think the last big E. coli outbreak was a popular food chain. They were able to determine the field that it came from, the row in that field that it came from. It was a vegetable. I think it was broccoli or something. And it turned out that they had moved cows 2 pastures down, but when they moved them, it put it in a wind pattern where their manure or something was blowing over the field. And they figured that out. Wow. So there are a lot of rules and regulations regarding our health, but I will tell you that I applaud our health department, while it's a pain in the ass, I realize that they're not there for me to be successful. They're there to protect the public. And, we've all served food to our friends, but I'm going to tell you, when you serve 1,000 individuals in a week, you come across everything. Weak immune systems, allergies you never even thought existed. So the government's there to protect all those people. And they do, the health department, anything they've ever asked us to do, the people are great about explaining why. And as much as those fees were in the beginning, I had some issues with my plumber who did some things wrong, and the health department guy came in and said it has to be redone. I'm like, oh my God, there's going to be more money for me.
Yeah.
I said, tell me why. And he explained it why, and he explained it beautifully. It had to do with health issues. That somewhere, someplace, someone got sick because this wasn't right. So generally, the health department, the policies and procedures that they put us through are there for the customers' protection.
How often do they inspect you?
About every 6 months.
Okay, and
then there's lots of different inspections. There's the health department inspection. Then there's obviously insurance companies come in every so often to make sure that your equipment's where it's supposed to be. If they see anything, there's about 4 or 5 different
and
inspections.
And they can just show up at any random time.
They all show up at any time. Yeah.
Yeah.
And in the health, there's also the sewage department, city governments that check our grease trap to make sure we're draining it every month or whatever the schedule is supposed to be. But again, those are things that those are necessary evils, and I use the word evil, but they're for the consumer's protection, and I'm one of the biggest advocates for once our government gets it right.
Well, because you're all about quality sushi. Yeah. You want the whole presentation to be quality. You want it to be clean, healthy, all that. So that makes sense. Yeah. So I'm sure they're just reinforcing the policies that you implement as a business owner yourself.
And they find things that we don't. Obviously, when you work with 1,000 restaurants, they're going to come across things that maybe my restaurant doesn't do, but maybe I was going to do, but now because of a health department policy, we're not going to do that because a memo came out and said, don't do your fish this way. I maybe wouldn't have thought of that because I don't see the end result. They do. I mean, 1 million people do eat every day. So when there are problems or issues that arise, they try to come up with a solution for that. Then they'll send out a memo. This is how we want everybody to handle their fish according to this way.
So now you're an entrepreneur. Tell me a little bit about the new things that you're working on in your business.
Okay, so some of the exciting things. So Sabuku is my passion, and you know that. You can sense that. Hopefully folks listening can feel that from me. This is my baby. I've never done something where I've been this passionate about it. I love it. It's hard, but it's me. Sabuku's me.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful thing. But the problem with Sabuku is it's not replicable. It's not scalable. So here I am. I've created a business. Can you imagine if I could only make one iPad? If I'm at Steve Jobs. Yeah. I can only make one iPad. That's it. You can only make one product.
Right.
I mean, you can't, products come and go or, things, cycles, right? Mm-hmm. So recognizing the challenges that I'm having as a restaurateur, as an entrepreneur, and from some of the successes that we're having within Sabuku, I came up with a new non-restaurant idea. So to mitigate some of the employee issues, to mitigate the costs of opening a restaurant, the costs involved, you realize that right now I'm paying rent and it's just you and me in here. We're not even open. So I'm paying rent. I'm paying electricity. Yeah. Refrigerators are running. Restaurants are incredibly underutilized. It's amazing to me that so many restaurants, think about it, Jane's around the corner doesn't open until 4 or 5 p.m. every day. And they close at, 9 or 10. That means for 20 hours a day, that business, all that equipment is being completely underutilized.
Right.
So I'm starting a non-restaurant idea I'm calling Munchie Bowl. Mm-hmm. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take simple foods, comfort foods. A lot of folks are associating that because I have Sabuku, this will be a fish-based type business. It's not. It's going to be a comfort food-based business. And what I want to try to do is take advantage of, I want to franchise, but I'm thinking of the small restaurateur who's successful and wants to open another business but doesn't want to drop another $500,000 on equipment, fees, more employees, more space that's underutilized. What I want to do, if you take a look right now on Adams Avenue, we've got 20 restaurants right now on Adams Avenue. None of them are open. Well, maybe a few of the breakfast places, okay? Yeah. So at any given time, we have millions of dollars of equipment that we paid and bought for that's just sitting idle.
Yeah, right on.
Okay? So what I want to do is take the Munchie Bowl concept, which is simple foods, simple products, but that taste very good, and present them to other restaurateurs. Let me give you an example. Antique Row right here next to me closes every day at 2 o'clock because they're a breakfast joint. Mm-hmm. why do they have to open another restaurant if they want to grow? How do we figure out how to better maximize or better utilize our restaurant spaces? I'm empty every morning. There's nobody in here.
Right.
Okay? So what if Munchie Bowl, instead of having to open more restaurants, what if I found a business model? And that's the part I'm still working. Munchie Bowl is brand new.
Right.
Right now I'm incubating it or testing the food concepts here in Sabuku. But what I want to do is take this to a new restaurant, non-restaurant platform. Munchie Bowl is going to be an online concept only. And I want to figure out the franchise model where we put it in existing restaurants, where they don't have to add square footage, they don't have to change their venue. They just simply become a pickup or deliveries, for example. I can't deliver to Chula Vista from this location, but if I found a restaurant partner down in Chula Vista that wanted to be a pickup spot, they don't have to change their restaurant concept, because you don't want to be a sushi place and the next table over they're getting breakfast foods.
Yeah.
People kind of want to feel like, oh, this is my sushi spot, this is my breakfast place.
Yeah.
They don't want to go, what? It's not a food court.
Right.
So as a business owner, you don't want to change your business venue all that much, but you're looking for additional revenue opportunities.
Yeah.
What if I can come up with a new franchise model where we put Munchie Bowl into existing restaurants that are underutilized at various times? So if Munchie Bowl is in Sabuku in the mornings, and then I talk to my neighbor next door here who closes every day at 2 o'clock and says, why don't we put Munchie Bowl for you in the evenings? I'm busy, but in the evenings you're not.
Right.
You're closed.
Right.
What if we were to come up with a business model where we could work together and we both become the distribution points for Munchie Bowl?
Right. And
you don't need to change you don't know additional revenue. You don't need to buy additional equipment. You don't need to do further investment, just additional weight, because that's the problem for the small business owner. You've got us. We all of these restaurants, we've put hundreds of thousands of dollars, and in a weird way, we're trapped now because we have put our life in this. You better love what you do. I feel bad for those people that are doing it for the business reasons and then obviously fail, and you watch hundreds of thousands of dollars just go out of their wallet.
Right.
I'm successful because I'm passionate about what I do. They're successful. Antique Row, El Frappe, Cueva Bar. These are people who are passionate about what they do, and they do it really well. But that doesn't mean that we're not also interested in new opportunities and new avenues. We just don't want to spend another $500,000 to do so.
Yeah.
Okay? This restaurant was almost $300,000 by the time I was done. 1,500 square feet. Whew. Yeah, people don't realize that.
$300,000.
Yeah.
Wow.
Bars, that's an $80,000 bar.
Really?
Yeah.
It's a beautiful bar. It's $80,000?
You think it's the granite? It's not the granite. It's the stainless steel. That stainless steel counter custom piece was $15,000 for a piece of stainless steel. The hood in the kitchen was $26,000 to run the hood up the building. People think that this stuff is just, I got a refrigerator at Home Depot for $100. Oh, refrigerators. My little under-the-counter fridge has to be NSF certified, not just, your Home Depot fridge.
Right.
My under-the-counter fridge is $2,700. You can get the same damn thing as a consumer for what, $300 at Home Depot?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, commercial equipment's ridiculous. My ice machine broke. I tried to find a used ice. You can't even find it. I said, I don't do used. Used commercial equipment, it goes for about 60% of original. I'm like, for the other 40%, at least I get a warranty. I typically replace. Fail. Yeah, if it fails, I'm screwed. If it's new, at least I have a warranty.
Right.
So I generally, when equipment fails, and it does, after 8 years, I've already replaced 3 refrigerators. And that's the other thing people don't realize is that a small restaurant, or I just mentioned that you can sit here in your $80. How much? Every time a piece of equipment goes, it's $2,500. It's $2,000 here, $3,000.
How many sushi rolls you got to sell?
You have to sell just to cover that.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. I think the Munchie Bowl concept. First, again, I'm going to start off with good food from the success of our chicken bowls and some of the things that we've done here very well, and I want to present it to other restaurateurs who would see it as an additional revenue opportunity without having. So it's going to be a franchise, but it's going to be franchised. But it's not going to be the traditional franchise. Because right now, I can show you on this street, I said there's 15 restaurants.
Right.
Go down on University, I can show you 20 small restaurants right now that each have maybe 2 or 3 people in it right now. It's not, we're morning, but middle of the day. We're all serving 2 or 3 people. Right. Underutilized equipment. They've spent, even the smallest, that little taco shop, probably dropped $100,000 for all that equipment.
It's a very innovative idea to leverage all of that infrastructure that's just sitting idle.
Just sitting idle.
Yeah.
We got to figure out a way to be smarter. We got to work smarter, not harder.
Right on.
So this is an example of me seeing a problem, not just in my restaurant, but I say problem. We're right now underutilized equipment, millions of dollars. If we look at a street, pick any street in San Diego, there's probably 12 restaurants.
Oh, yeah.
millions of dollars of equipment. And that's what's kind of wrong with this business model, in the sense that that's the health department. Everybody wants you to go out and build wants the poor business owner to go out and just drop everything they've ever made successfully to start this business up.
Right.
And I understand, again, we talked about the health department. There's reasons for that. I mean, obviously you want the right equipment. They don't want Home Depot appliances because they haven't passed tests and people fired. And we understand all that. But it's a huge barrier to entry. It's also a huge barrier to get to that next level of success.
Right.
If you have one location, why do I need 6? I really don't want 6. I don't want 6 Sabukus. I can't be at all 6. I can't share the passion. I can't get 6 probably operations that are going to run with passion, employees with passion. There's a reason, In-N-Out Burgers, beautiful business model. A bunch of teenagers running around with one manager. Their manager's not passionate about food. Don't get me wrong, I love In-N-Out Burger, one of the best burgers in the world, but those people aren't passionate about food.
They're not.
Let's be clear.
Yeah.
The kids need jobs. The manager needs a job. They're not passionate about food. You're not passionate about something if all you're going to do is follow a recipe. Granted, one of the best recipes ever.
Yeah.
But you're just churning out burgers.
Right.
Okay? So, when you're passionate about something, you can't replicate it. Brian Malarkey, our celebrity chef, opened all those restaurants a few years back. Where is he back down to? 1.
Right.
Because you can't it's not about name. People come to your restaurant for your food, and they'll taste the passion or they won't.
Right.
All right? So the small restaurateur is almost screwed in that sense, because they can't. Anybody else, if I'm HP, I can build more models.
Right.
As a small restaurateur, you can't build more models. You literally are prohibited from doing so, because you literally can't spread yourself that thin.
Because it's not a scalable model.
It's not a scalable model.
Right.
So what I'm doing with Munchie Bowl is the exact opposite of what Sabuku is. Sabuku is my passion. Sabuku is an extension of me. Munchie Bowl is going to be a combination of what I see in my experiences now for using my business background, acumen, understanding scalability, and then looking at the restaurant industry and seeing where there are opportunities. The cuisine is amazing too. In Munchie Bowl, I'm going to tell you straight up, we did some chicken bowls. We were doing 10 pounds of chicken a week, because who does chicken at a sushi place? The kids get their spicy teriyaki, get their chicken terakis. Yeah. Some people you got 4 friends that want sushi. One person says, no, I want chicken. So we had the chicken as more like obligatory. Yeah. Not that we didn't do it well, but the chicken was just there because for people who didn't want sushi. Yeah. We went from 10 pounds a week to over 90 pounds a week on our chicken bowls. That's how good they are. So while they're simple, while they're easy to make, I don't require a professional sushi chef to make them. The basic formula is simple. They're very good foods.
So it's like In-N-Out Burger, right?
Exactly.
So you've got a good recipe. You've got you have a process, and you've got a simple menu that's easy to execute, and it's consistent quality.
It could be put into an Italian restaurant. It could be put into a Mexican restaurant. It could be put into the breakfast place that's not open at night, or even if they're open, maybe they're just their business is. We all have those times. Like I said, as a restaurant, I need to strike from 6 to 9 p.m. That is where 90% of my business comes from. People laugh. Like, they'll come in here. You guys are in here. I think maybe 1 or 2 other people all day. Yeah. I'd have to have a chef here anyways.
Right.
The energy, the bills, everything's ticking anyways. I might as well be open. But truthfully, I'm not making any money, because people come out to eat dinner.
Yeah.
Between 6 and 9.
Yeah.
There's a reason you have to have happy hour specials to get people come in. Well, there's a few people that do dine at 4 p.m. The truth of the matter is they're coming in for the early bird specials and the prices. You're trying to drive a behavior instead of the natural one. So it really is. That's what I'm talking about. It's not about unsuccessful restaurants that need additional revenue. It's about successful restaurants that would like additional revenue in the right context. Yes. So the breakfast place that is open 24 hours, but let's be honest, they're really cranking out food from 6 a.m. to noon, 11.
Yeah.
And then from 11 on, they drop the staff down to 1 chef, 1 server. Why not put Munchie Bowl in there and see how can you generate additional revenue? Just like pickup. Don't have to change it. Don't have to change your style. Don't have to do anything. It's simply a pickup and distribution point for delivery drivers to come in, utilize that kitchen now that's just sitting there. That's a lot of equipment.
Right. And then your system, you're delivering orders to them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love the innovative ideas.
I think it's groundbreaking, because I think it's going to change things.
It's a non-restaurant restaurant.
Yeah.
That's so awesome.
Yeah. I think I'm very excited about that. Yes.
So Bob, I want to thank you. You have so much energy, so much passion. You know, like we say, that life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, you embody all of those ideals, and that's why we love you. We came here, we had lunch, and Zeke and I, we just stumbled on you and like, oh my God. So, Bob, thank you. We wish you the most success.
Appreciate that.
And we'll be coming back.
Thank you. Great to be here.
All right.
All right. Thanks, John.